Another reason we want to structure our project this way and keep all of these directories together in this root directory is to make it all more portable. In other words, it'd be nice if we could move this sensitivity analysis to any computer we want and still be able to run the code in the protocol in order to generate what's in the product. Now we'll learn about how to use relative paths in order to make that happen, but for now, it's just important to make sure that every time we're working with this product, we're in the same working directory, and our code is written to use that working directory. The first step to that is where and how we set up our RStudio project for working with this data product. Now, our RStudio project is associated with the code, so I would argue it belongs in the protocol directory. So ultimately, this protocol directory is where we want to put that project file. Now, we've created a project file before, and we're going to do it the same way, or almost the same way here. First, we need to start up RStudio. I can create a project file either by using this little cube with an R in it as an icon, or I can go under File, New Project. Now last time we used this new directory option because we hadn't created the directory yet. But this time the protocol directory already exists. So we want to put our R project file in an existing directory. So I'm going to choose this second option. And then I need to browse to go to the directory where I want to put this. Now I can go with my file browser back to this root, this sensitivity analysis folder. I can copy the path by clicking up here, and I'm going to do a Control-C. It's on a Windows PC. And I'm going to paste that path here just to quickly get me to a directory. Now, that put me in the root directory, the sensitivity analysis directory, but where I want to be is in this protocol directory. So I'm going to double click on that, and this is where I want to put my project file. So I'll click on Open, and I'll click on Create Project. Now this project is open in that file now, but just to show you how that all worked, I'm going to close RStudio. We can go to that protocol directory, and there's our project file. It calls it the same thing as the host directory. That's just what it does by default. And here's the .rproject.user directory where the project keeps all of the data about the project. Now, as I've said before, I like to call this file the same thing every time so I can quickly find it. And it doesn't matter what it's called. So I like to call this rstudio.rproject because it's an RStudio project. Now, once I have this set up, I can start up RStudio by double-clicking on this file, and that's because in my operating system, I have .rproject extension files associated with the RStudio app. So if I double-click on this, it's going to bring up RStudio, and it will automatically be in this protocol directory as my working directory. I can also type a get wd command into the console to convince myself that yes, I'm in that sensitivity analysis root directory in the subdirectory called to_protocol. That's my working directory. Now this is why you should really be in the habit of always opening up RStudio with an RStudio project file. If you do that, then when you open up RStudio, I'll do it one more time, it always opens a brand new session of R. So if I already had R open, it's not going to open up a script or another R file in an existing instance of RStudio. It's always going to open up a brand new instance of RStudio. And it's always going to be in the working directory where it should be, such that when I run code that's based on this being my working directory, that code will always work. That's what's going to make this pipeline portable, make it so that you can move it to another computer and it's still going to work on that computer. Now you have to know how to use relative paths in order to make that happen, and we'll get into that later. But this is the baseline for how you can make your data products more portable.